What is up, Insaners, and welcome to our Game Week 35 team selection video where we'll talk about our team for Game Week 35. Through this video, guys, we'll look at our current team for Game Week 35 and talk about a few popular transfer moves that we are planning this week. We'll finish this one with the best captaincy options for this week. Guys, make sure that you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel as well. We are very close to 1000 subscribers, guys, and we really appreciate your support. Now let's start today's video by talking about how our team is looking right now for Game Week 35. Coming to our defense, guys, and we have Ramsdale in goal. Now, Ramsdale is playing West Ham. West Ham will have that European hangover, and I think there's a chance that Arsenal can keep a clean sheet. I mean, West Ham have been okay in attack and defense, nothing spectacular. In fact, in defense, they're quite weak. They can concede chances. Saka is in decent form. Arsenal are okay in attack, and maybe not their defense. Maybe they can't keep a clean sheet at the moment, but I just have a feeling that they might just do okay from an attacking perspective. Ramsdale anyways, guys, it's not a preferred choice, but I don't think so with only a few game weeks left now. Making a goalkeeper transfer makes any sense, so we'll just keep him as is and we'll play him this week. Our bench goalkeeper is Sanchez, guys. Again, he's playing Wolves. Wolves don't score a lot of goals, so you might argue that you can play Sanchez ahead of Ramsdale, but I just feel Ramsdale is the better keeper. He's probably playing for a better team. I think he makes a lot of saves as well, so he can give us save points, maybe even a potential clean sheet and some bonus points. Coming to our defense, and we're playing a back three, a strong back three this week, guys. We have Robertson, Cancelo, and James as a part of our back three for this particular week. I don't think so we are making any particular changes to all these three defenders, guys. I think Robertson has done really well. He's outscored Trent over the past few weeks. He's been in great form. He's getting attacking returns. He's also keeping clean sheets. That also means that he's getting bonus points as well. I think they struck gold here. It's been a great move getting in Robertson. And luckily, guys, famous last words, luckily Trent is not hurting us right now. But again, I mean, Trent can of course score a lot of points, but I don't have a particular plan, and I don't have any plans, in fact, to get in a Trent at all. It's a risky move, but I think I probably will have to bet against the template to gain a few ranks. But that again comes with a lot of risk, and there is a possibility, guys, that Trent could hurt me in terms of rank, but I'll probably take that chance. Cancelo, again, he has high effective ownership. I think it's more of a safe pick than probably going against the template or anything like that, guys. Cancelo has been really good. He's playing for a great team. He's playing for the best attacking team in the league right now. He's also playing for a really good defense. His attacking returns have been okay. I mean, they've not been as good as somebody like a Robertson or Trent, maybe even James when he struck gold. But I think overall he's sticking very nicely. Against Leeds, there is a possibility that Leeds can score. I mean, I think there is a chance that Leeds might go all out in terms of this particular game. So a clean sheet could be a bit risky, but again, we're talking about Man City here, who are really good in defense. I think Cancelo will definitely play this. There's no chance that he's getting rested for this particular game, guys. I think he's a good pick this week. Coming to James, yes, pretty disappointed with what happened in Game Week 34, guys, where a lot of people went for James instead of Alonso, and the variance in terms of points was massive, guys. Alonso, I think, scored about 19 points, and James only started one game, where Chelsea failed to keep a clean sheet, and he was a bit unlucky not to get any attacking returns in that game against United. But overall, I still feel James is the better pick. Again, we keep hoping that he will start majority games and he will end up returning a lot of points. At least it's not happened since I have got him in my team. I might be the unlucky part here. But anyways, we're still going with James against Everton. I think it's a good fixture. Everton have not been that great generally. Yes, they're slightly better at home. So there is a chance that Everton might just shut up shop, might just frustrate Chelsea, but I still feel Chelsea is a very strong team as compared to Everton. And James, I think, will get a start here. I think he's going to play this game, and let's move on. In terms of our midfield, guys, we have a strong midfield currently consisting of Mount, Salah, Kulusevski, Coutinho, and Rafinha. Now, Mount, again, not very happy with how things turned out. A lot of people went Havertz, but I think in general, Mount could still play against Everton. Yes, there is a chance of rotation in terms of minutes. He might be subbed off early on in the game. He might not even start that game. But again, I can shift him out for a different player. Let's see if he'll be able to do that. But for now, I think I'm probably keeping him in my team. If this was Havertz, I think the decision would have been slightly clearer because I think Havertz is definitely at risk of rotation this particular week. But Mount, I still feel he can play majority minutes and he can start this game. Salah, I'm not really touching him in any capacity, guys. I'm not really removing him from my team. I think he's still a very good pick. Yes, I want to go a bit differential. I want to take a few risks. But going against Salah, even if it's Newcastle, who are a really good side at the moment. I think their home record has been good. Their defense has really improved a lot, especially over the last 6 game weeks, guys. I think their numbers are pretty good. And it's going to be a tough game for Salah. There's a lot of chat in the community that he might be rested or he might just come off around the 60th minute mark. Yes, there is absolutely a possibility of that happening. Whether you want to captain him is a different debate, and we'll talk about captaincy in a bit. But I think having Salah is really, really important. Now, guys, if you want to protect rank, if you want to consolidate your rank, depends on that, right? If you want to play a bit safer, then Salah is definitely a player to have. If you want to go against the template, then you're taking a huge risk and do that on your own will. But I think Salah could still be a decent option to have. Apart from that, we have Kulusevski, Coutinho, Rafinha. In a similar price bracket, Leicester are expected to heavily rotate because of their European commitments. I don't think so. They are prioritizing the league in any capacity. And I think Spurs will play a heavily rotated Leicester side. Now, what will be their defense? What kind of players Leicester would be playing in their 11? Whether they'll be attacking, whether they'll be a bit open, whether they'll just shut up shop. But I still feel Kulusevski might just tick off this particular week, guys. I think the fixture at home, yes, it's a bit difficult to predict what Tottenham are going to do because they find it a bit tricky against those low block teams who sit back and kind of make it difficult for the Tottenham team to create chances, to create spaces, to score goals. But I think Leicester's probably not going to do that. Leicester are going to play a bit open, and that might just suit Spurs at the end. Our other midfielders are Coutinho and Rafinha. Coutinho, again, playing Norwich, the worst team in the league in terms of defense, in terms of most of the numbers, whether it's attacking numbers, whether it's defensive numbers. They're bottom in the league as well, guys. I think it's a really plum fixture to target. If you are looking to target a particular fixture this week, I think Coutinho against Norwich is a really good option. I've had him for a long time and I've kind of had my trust in him. I've of course benched him for a lot of games, but I think Coutinho this week could do really well. Our final midfielder is Rafinha, guys, who's probably gonna make way for somebody like a Saka, maybe somebody else, maybe a Man City midfielder. We'll just talk about our transfer plans in a bit. I think he's definitely making way this particular week. Against Man City, yes, he can still score. Leeds can absolutely score against Man City, but I'm probably not going to take a chance. There are better midfielders to target. There are better players to go for. And I just feel over the next few weeks, I think I can get better players in that particular price range, guys. I might even go slightly higher in terms of my midfield spending, but I think Rafinha is definitely going this week. In terms of our two strikers, we have a 3-5-2 formation. We have two strikers up front. Weghorst, yes, I've benched him last week, but he's still getting points. I think he's gotten a bit better after Sean Dyche has been fired from the club, guys. Surprisingly, guys, there could be a huge swing in terms of Weghorst. I think he's playing well. Burnley are scoring points, they are scoring goals, and I think that's what's important right now. They have to get out of that relegation battle. They're fighting for survival at the moment, guys, and I think Weghorst against Watford, who don't look that appealing, especially at home, I think it might be an okay fixture to target. I personally don't think there's any value in selling Weghorst unless you don't have any other moves or any other transfers to make. And I am particularly very interested to keep him this week. Our final attacker is Werner, guys. Huge disappointment that he didn't do anything or he didn't get any attacking returns in that double game week, which we bought him for. Of course, we took a hit as well, so that has not really gone that great. But I think Werner is another player that we're thinking of possibly rotating this week. There are high chances that he might get rested, he might get rotated. And I think he's probably not going to get majority minutes. He anyways doesn't play for 90 minutes in majority games. I think he's also on the chopping block this week. Now quickly talking about our bench, and this is where I'm a bit stuck, guys. I have White, Adams and Schär. They're not cheapies or they're not very average players or maybe players or picks who do not start for their teams, who are very cheap, who are just there to kind of make up the numbers. I have a lot of money invested in these picks and I think it's going to be a bit difficult to kind of take away money from these players and then put it in my 11, especially when I have to use a bench boost, maybe in 36, maybe in 37. I'm still debating on that fact. But just because of that bench boost, I think it's getting a bit tricky to kind of have this bench and not invest that additional money in my playing 11. Now quickly talking about my transfer plans here, guys. I have 2.1 million in the bank right now. Now the first transfer option, I think it's a pretty straightforward one. I'm taking out Rafinha, who has a tough set of fixtures. Leeds, I can't be really sure of them. When will they score? How much will Rafinha be involved? I know that he has been a bit unlucky in terms of getting returns and he's dodged a lot of FPL points. And I think they're better picks, especially when I talk about a Saka, guys. I know Saka, you might be wondering that why doesn't he have Saka in his team right now? I mean, I had Martinelli for the longest time. That move clearly didn't work out. Saka has been hurting my rank a lot over the past few weeks, especially when he's getting those double-digit hauls. And I know it's a bit late, I know it's a bit defensive, but I think to stop that bleeding, I have to get in Saka this week. This looks like a pretty straightforward transfer. I know there were a lot of talks about him not playing because he's having some injury, he's having a minor knock, etc. But whatever news, whatever information we've got from Mikel Arteta, from the Twitter spaces, guys, Saka is definitely going to start. And I think Arsenal probably not going to risk him being on the bench because he's their best attacker, he's their main player. He's the one who really ticks along in terms of the Arsenal attack and he makes things work. So I think Saka is definitely going to play this one. It's an important game. They have to cement that fourth spot and getting him makes a lot of sense. So he's definitely one move that I'm considering and I'll probably end up making this move anyhow. So Rafinha to Saka is going to be one move. Now the other options are spaces where things get a bit interesting now. I'm thinking of taking out Mason Mount. I know I only got him last week. Of course, I was trying to get a bit aggressive, trying to chase points, chase hauls. That didn't happen with Mount. I was outscored him just by a bit, but that really hit, guys. And I think Mount, yes, I understand that he could still play majority minutes for Chelsea, but again, there could be heavy rotation there, so I'm not really sure. I think Phil Foden is definitely one option that I can go for. The budget really allows me to only go for kind of a Foden. I can also go for a Mahrez, but I'm not really sure about Mahrez's minutes in the Premier League. I think there's a high chance that Foden gets rested this particular week because of their Champions League engagement against Real Madrid. But overall, I feel over the next 2 or 3 game weeks, I think Foden could be a decent pick. He should play majority minutes in the Premier League like he's done, guys. Yes, you can argue for the likes of Jack Grealish coming back in, Sterling, Mahrez. There are a lot of options. Even Gabriel Jesus has become a potential FPL option now. But I think Phil Foden could be okay over the next 2 to 3 weeks. He's been playing really well. From an FPL perspective, yes, he got a haul very recently, but I think he could still end up well. The fixtures are really good for Man City, and I think he could be a decent option keeping the budget in mind. I can't go for a KDB. I would have loved to go for a KDB in this scenario, guys. I think he's a great captaincy option this week and next week as well. But the money doesn't allow me to go for a KDB. I think it becomes a bit difficult because I have to then make certain downgrades in defense, maybe take one of my premium defenders and downgrade him to a different option, which I probably don't want to do. The other option is I probably downgrade a Werner, which I'll just talk about in a moment, and then get in a cheaper striker. That's one option again. And I can actually do that. I can take out Timo Werner and I can take out Mount and then get in Dennis, and then I can even go to a Son, for example. Now the tricky question is that, guys, do I want a Man City attacker with limited minutes this particular week? Yes, I think KDB still starts this game against Leeds, but then again, Pep can do Pep things and we might not be getting those players that we've got in our teams. They might not be starting games all of a sudden and we'll just probably end up taking hits and not getting benefited from that. So I can also go for a Son who definitely plays more minutes than the Man City players. Yes, he's also getting substituted around the 70th, 80th minute mark, but I still feel he will be featuring in majority games for Tottenham. They're still fighting for the top 4. I think Son has been doing pretty well over the past few weeks, and I've seen a lot of people selling Son and the likes of Kane, but I still feel there is some value in that Tottenham attack, guys. I think players like Son and Kane can really hurt you if you don't own them. Yes, if you have a free hit, it becomes a lot easier because you can get those players in this week. Then you can probably play a free hit in 36, not have them in your team, and then have them in your team for 37 and 38 when they have good fixtures. So I'm definitely considering Son as a pick. I think he's a lot easier to get in my team as compared to a Kane. I still feel Kane is slightly the better option to go for, but whenever I've said that, Son has obviously performed better. That's just classic FPL for you guys. And I think Son just suits my team overall. The only consideration that I have to keep in mind is that, guys, yes, Dennis has a double game week, but then again, he's playing for a Watford team who don't score a lot of goals, who are really bad at defending as well. Overall, they're just a pretty average team. I'm taking a hit for him as well, so is he going to start or is he going to play more minutes? Enough minutes to justify that hit? That's another question. The final thing is that for all these moves, for the Rafinha to Saka move, and for the next 2 set of moves, I have to take a final -8. And then again, is that -8 worth it? That is what I have to kind of consider. I'm still kind of in the mix in terms of whether to go for these 2 transfers. I think the Rafinha to Saka move is pretty much on. But let's see, the move could be a bit closer to the deadline. We might just get more information in terms of any more injuries, any more leaks in terms of, certain players missing because of COVID, because of some injuries, or any kind of leaked lineups. But this is my consideration here, guys. I also have a bench boost and a free hit available. Yes, the bench boost is a bit tricky because I kind of don't want to use it, but I have to. So I think the bench boost is probably going to be in game week 36. I'm probably going to free hit in 37 because I don't have a lot of players from Villa, Everton, targeting teams like Villa, Everton, who don't have a great fixture in 38. I think that free hit 37 looks a lot better in that case. Yes, I can still go for a 36 free hit, but I think I'll be able to make a decent team with these sort of transfers, maybe a couple of more transfers in Game Week 36, and have a solid team for that huge double Game Week 36, guys. So these are my transfer thoughts. Do let me know what you are thinking in terms of your transfer moves for Game Week 35 and beyond, guys. Great, with that done, let's talk about captaincy for Game Week 35. I think the captaincy debate is not very clear in terms of which way you want to go for. I think there are a few options, there are a few ways to differentiate from the crowd, especially if you are chasing ranks and trying to make up places. The most obvious option is, of course, to go for a Mo Salah. I think he's still a decent option to go for. The slight worry in terms of going for a Salah is that he might not get 90 minutes. But then again, he plays majority minutes for Liverpool, guys. He's hardly ever rested. There's a chance that he can still get rested, maybe taken off at around the 60th minute mark. And that just makes me a bit iffy about that Salah captaincy move. I've always gone a bit safer in terms of captaincy this season. A lot of times, in fact, majority times, it has worked, guys. The Mo Salah pick, majority times, has kind of worked. Yes, I still feel his effective ownership, his overall ownership is gonna be more than 100%. So you might end up losing rank if you don't make him captain. But I think, guys, only a few weeks left. If you want to take a few chances, if you want to make up rank, and this is the time we do that, I think there are a couple of options to go for. You can even go for the Tottenham duo, depending on which one you have. Let's say if you have Harry Kane, I think he's also a great captaincy option. I think that Leicester side is gonna be a very weakened side. They're probably not gonna defend as well as or as much as they have been doing over the past few weeks. Anyways, their defending numbers have not been that great. Over that, guys, Kane has a really good record against Leicester. He loves playing Leicester and scoring against them, so that's a huge plus. I think this particular game could still be more of a Kane game than a Son game. I think Kane is the better option. But again, if you have Son, he's also a good option to go for, especially if you want to differentiate. Now, guys, if you are chasing rank, if you are going against a template, then you can even go for the Man City options. If you have Kevin De Bruyne, guys, he's playing Leeds. Yes, Leeds don't concede those many goals, but then again, against a top opposition, they can still concede a lot of chances. They still like to play attacking football, which I think will suit City. And I have a feeling that Kevin De Bruyne is going to start this one. He's going to get 60 to 70 minutes. Maybe he's hooked at halftime, depending on how much City have scored or how easily they are winning the game. But I have a feeling that Kevin De Bruyne is a really good option to have and to go for this particular week. Now, if you don't have Kevin De Bruyne, if you have someone like a Raheem Sterling as well, guys, I think he's going to start this game. He's a much favored option in terms of the Premier League for Pep as compared to those Champions League games. So again, if you don't have a Kevin De Bruyne, if you have a Sterling, he's a great option to go for. Yes, he's risky, he's differential, but I think he's the one who could give you major rank gains. Now, if you don't have the likes of Kevin De Bruyne and Sterling, and if you want to take a punt on a Cancelo, guys, I think that also is a great option to go for. He's a defender. Of course, we know that he's a defender. He's going to give you clean sheet points. I think Man City is a great defense. Yes, Leeds can still score against Man City, but I think he has a lot of attacking threat as well. He will occupy a lot of positions on the field. I think he's going to put in a lot of crosses, take a lot of shots in the box as well. And I think from an attacking perspective, it looks really good. So if you trust a defender, to save your FPL season, give you a lot of rank gain, you can absolutely go for a Cancelo as well. Now, guys, the final option, if you don't want to go for all these options that I've just mentioned over the last couple of minutes, you can also go for a Philippe Coutinho, who's playing Norwich, who, as I mentioned earlier, are the worst team in the league. Yes, Coutinho is not really fired, so you might just ask me that question, that why do you want to go for a player who's not returned in the last few weeks? It's just because of Norwich, guys. Playing Norwich at home, they're the worst team in the league. I don't think so there's a lot of motivation left there anyways. And I think Gerrard would want to keep things straight, would want to get back on track and end the season on a high. And if Villa are going to score, Villa are going to do anything in terms of attack, I think Coutinho would be heavily involved. And that's why I think he's a great alternative differential option if you want to chase ranks and go very heavy in terms of a differential. So guys, who are you captaining? I'm personally leaning towards a Salah. If I don't have a Son, for example, if I don't go for a Son in terms of my transfers, I think I'm going to go for Mo Salah. Who are you captaining for Gaming 35, guys? Do let me know in the comment section below. So that'll be all from my side, guys. I really hope you'll find this video helpful in setting up your final teams for Game Week 35. Make sure that you hit the like button if you liked our team selection video, guys. Please consider subscribing to the channel as well. Now, we'll be back for the deadline stream just before the deadline. I think it'll be an hour and a half, maybe a couple of hours before the deadline. So do join us if you have any last minute questions or transfer queries. It's generally a lot of fun, guys. All the best to all FPL managers. Enjoy your week, and I'll see you in Saners next time.